Hello again and welcome back to the channel. Today I'm going to do another part in Cutesy Christmas Special 2020 edition, and we will be working on the Mariota Bokeh picture with the mouse in the mitten. And I'm going to show you how I am going to fix my mess over here and color in the top of the mitten. So I'm going to zoom you in and we will get started. So I'm using Prismacolors again, and I am using the same colors we used for the Snowflake, and they are PC 901 Indigo Blue, PC 1090 Kelp Green, PC 907 Peacock Green, and PC 912 Apple Green. And what I'm first going to do is lay down a base layer all over the top part of the mitten. And I'm just using a light pressure, and I managed to sharpen my pencils quite sharp after all the breaking that my Prismas have been doing. I just got so fed up, so I started sharpening them with my electric sharpener. And yeah, I'm not thrilled about it, but it's better than nothing. I think I might need to actually stick my Prismas back in the oven on a really low setting, or maybe, you know, when I've finished cooking and I've let the oven cool, just right at the end, because they seem rather brittle lately. So how have you all been? I hope that you are well. How is your Christmas planning coming along? We've been having a lot of fun. I've been doing Elf on the Shelf with the kids, and although my boys are no longer toddlers and they know who helps Elf, it's been quite fun to come up with some ideas and just goof around. This morning I had Elf. I tried to have him abseiling down the side of the stairs, but he ended up more like he was bungee jumping. So the only one who gave me a good reaction was my husband, who, you know, he's thought it was quite funny, and he's the more adventurous one in the family and has done all sorts of stuff. I mean, he's done bungee jumping and hanging out upside down outside of helicopters, been involved in mountain rescue and all sorts of that. Me, no thank you. I'm more, you know, out and about going places than I am hanging upside down. So yeah, he quite enjoyed that, and my one boy was devastated with me, and because I'd used the tinsel on the stairs, and I didn't know that it had taken him such a specific way of putting the tinsel on the stairs. So I did apologize. I was quite in the dog box about it, but anyway. So yeah, I need to come up with another plan for Elf. I've got a few up my sleeve. Okay, so we've just done a base layer with the apple green, and now I'm going to go and use PC 901 Indigo Blue, and I'm going to go into the dark areas now. I just want to make sure I don't lose these, you know, the grayscale and where the shadows go. So this section here is going to be quite dark because the light, whether it's coming from the side or from the top isn't going to really go inside. It's going to get completely absorbed. So it will be quite dark. And because I've got the red spill, I'm going to have to make it quite dark. But you'll see it will go away. It won't stay there. And then just lightly flick it out. So I've been telling my kids that, you know, oh, we must get onto diamond painting. I showed them a couple of diamond painting samples at a gift shop about a month or so ago, and I asked them, so would you be interested in trying this out? And they were like, yeah, we'd love to try it out. And so I said, all right, fine, we can get a set, you know, pack of 4 off Amazon, and we can give it a shot. So I finally got round, and I got these diamond paintings for the boys, and it's a set of 4 snowmen, and oh, it's so much fun. And I don't do it with them in the sense I'm not doing the diamond paintings. I'm more organizing the beads and helping them load the applicator where they struggle, and just making sure that nothing gets lost. I don't want to go and buy an organized container if it's going to be something that's, you know, it's just going to be a once-off and then no more. So what I've done is I've gotten out margarine tubs, and I'm using that to just hold all the packets with all the beads in, and at least that way, if it spills inside here, and at least it keeps it organized. And I mean, I'm digressing quickly to show you. I mean, this is the, I'll just pull you out. This is the one picture my eldest is doing. So they all got one the same size and just different pictures. So that's what we'll be working on the next week or so, instead of really focusing on, you know, boring stuff like math or English. I mean, who wants to do grammar and spelling when you can be doing diamond painting? And I say that jokingly though, because we do focus a lot on our schoolwork, and they do enjoy their math, and they always ask me to do their grammar and their English, and so yeah. And it was soggy today. I don't know what the weather is like where you are. It's been rather soggy, and we were standing outside in the misty rain while my eldest was having another rugby match. But you know, it's so good. It's good to watch them and see how they grow. Alright, so almost done here with all these shadowed areas. Okay, and then now we're going to take the Peacock Green PC907, and I'm going to go in here, and I'm just going to keep going over this. And I'm using a bit of a medium pressure here because I really do want to cover up all this red. So unfortunate. Hopefully we can make it work. So I'm just using the peacock green and I'm going over all those blue areas and just blending it out. You just want to try and see exactly where your shadows are falling, where the grayscale is, and then just try and stick with that. Because what it's doing is it's just creating the folds where the material or the knitted part of the mitten is just folding. You just blend that out. As you can see, the green over the red, it is already darkening it. Okay, let's go in with the Calc Green PC 1090. Again, I'm going into the shadows and out of it. We want to even have some of these different tones in the light section because we want to give depth to the mitten. That's why often we won't use just one color. If you use just one color on something like this, you can use, you'll get slightly darker values if you press hard. I mean, if I press hard here and I burnish compared to if I go here, I'll get a darker tone. By adding different colors, what I'm doing is just adding a bit more depth to the color, and giving it, you know, that variation, and I'm also giving it undertones, and that's what makes it look like it also pops out of the picture. Is what I love when my pictures actually pop out from the page, and I get a real kick out of it. And I find it's because of developing the tonal value and also doing what I can to add depth to my page. And at the end of the day, you know, it's all about just having fun with it. Okay, here it's going to be a bit more dark, so using a lighter pressure, I'm just going to give it a bit more depth, just give it a bit of a darker value. And if you hold the pencil almost flat, you can put a very light layer in the lighter areas. So you're still getting some of that pigment down, but you're not blending out your highlights and your shadows. Whereas if you were to hold really close, and you can do that for like down here, you kind of getting a darker color out. But when you want to be light, you go at the back and almost flat. You can also hold it slightly up and get a light layer on like that as well. Okay, so now I'm going to go back with the apple green PC912, and again another light layer over all of this. And you can even add a bit of yellow in here. That would also just brighten up this section here. If you put a bit of yellow here and maybe a bit of yellow there. Let me finish with this and then I'll go get a yellow and I'll show you what I mean. You can also use different shades of blue, and you can layer blues and yellow as well, just to change up the green, and to also create that depth. Depends really on what you want to do in your mood. For holly leaves, I find you often want to use yellows, greens, light greens, dark greens, mid-tones. You also want to use blues, and as you layer the yellow over the blue, you immediately will get a green. I watched a couple of videos on holly leaves, you know, how to draw them realistically and color them, because it is quite fun to try and turn a page as realistically as possible, although it does really depend on the way the picture has been drawn. You know, I don't think you can really turn something cartoonish into realism. I think there is some truth to, you know, sticking to the style of the illustrator and coloring accordingly. And I think, well, that was something that I thought was worth remembering, at least for myself, because I often can put pressure on myself to try and color something as realistically as I can with my skill set at this stage, and then I can clam up and get frustrated because it's not happening the way I expected. But sometimes you don't need to. Sometimes it's actually okay to just keep to the style of the coloring page and enjoy the process. So I found that's very helpful. And when I look at videos by professional artists who do realism, they often do say, you know, the success of realism is linked to the way it is drawn. If the drawing is not proportionally realistic and correct, then it doesn't matter how well you color, it's not going to be correct. So I've just been thinking about that, and how sometimes we can have coloring books like Kanoko Gusa or I think it's Matsuda. Their drawings, or even Tim Jeff's, their drawings are really real and do give a lot of room to push yourself to realism art. However, this sort of a page, I mean, you could do realistic wool and that sort of thing, but maybe something like Lulu Mayo, for instance, that style it's not a realism style. It's a fun, warm and fuzzy style, and it's quite a fun style. Or Gnomes in the Neighborhood. I think that's, I've forgotten who that's by. That's also not really, you know, you can't turn a gnome into a real person. It's not designed that way. It's designed to be more whimsical and fun. So these are just some of the things that I've been learning as I've done research on YouTube, watched other videos, and try to grow as a colorist, or just in the hobby, really. All right, PC 907. I think I'll use a bit of black in here as well. As long as I don't use too much black, or I go over the black with the dark green, it will still look okay. And if you're wanting to know the colors used for the mouse, I will link them in the description below. And I will link all the colors I've used for this page. Okay, let me get a yellow. So using PC 1011, which is Deco Yellow, I'm just going to lightly bring it here into the highlighted zones, and I'll brighten this up for you. And over here on this side. And what you'll find is it will just make those highlights kind of stick out. Okay, let's go in with the kelp green PC 1090. And then you just want to go between the pom-pom, yeah, without going into your pom-pom, because you don't want to get green into there because it's white. So hubby and I are busy rewatching The Big Bang Theory. It's been a few years since we watched it, and we actually watched Young Sheldon with the kids, and it was really fun. It was so well put, and I thought, oh, let's get back onto The Big Bang Theory and just rewatch it. I like it more than Friends. And had a few friends who watched Friends and they enjoyed it, but I just didn't seem to really get on with it. But I like The Big Bang Theory. So we're watching that. We'll rewatch all 12 seasons of it. Okay, let's go with the apple green PC 912. And if you go at different angles, you'll also get the pigment into more of the tooth of the paper. And that will also help with your blending. Okay, I need to lift this up. This is PC 1090. And then I'm going to use a yellow chartreuse, PC 1004. I don't want a whole lot of it, I just want a little bit. Okay. And then a bit of the blue. And I'm just redefining the shape, the highlights, shadow, sorry, not the highlights, the shadows. I'm doing this a bit late at night because it's been a busy day and I thought I'd just sit down and have a bit of a colour. So I'm hoping during the Christmas holidays to get a bit more colouring done and a few more videos, all going according to plan. And also bought some extra games for us to play as a family because I quite enjoy playing card games and board games. So with hubby taking leave over Christmas, I thought it'd be nice to just play some new games and have a few giggles. Oh, we're forgetting this part here. So what you've got here is the yarn. We're going to make this whole section here red, and it's going to be red, 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 red. So we want this bit here green because it's kind of hooking over the top of the mitten. So this is the apple green PC 912. So now I'm using a medium pressure and I'm going over my shadows and I'm pulling it into the lighter areas. If I go quiet, it's just because I've run out of something to talk to. It's quite a trick actually to be able to talk out loud and color and not have anybody in the room next to me or next to me just talking. So if I go quiet, it's just because I've run out of something to say. And I don't want to bore you with the same regurgitating ramble. That's why I like having extroverts around me sometimes. As an extrovert, they're really good at just talking, or even if you're around someone who's an introvert, but they just love to talk. And it's so much easier because you just let them talk and all you have to do is listen. I've met one of my recent friends. She's like that. She just talks. And it's so helpful because I don't know her very well. And by her letting her talk, I get to know her well, and it's also easy for me because I don't have to think like, oh gosh, what do we talk about now? And yeah, some people are really good at deep conversations, and other people are really good at light-hearted small talk. I fall under the deep conversations category, so it's good practice for me to learn to talk about all sorts of other things, because those other things matter. They matter to somebody. Okay, and now I'm going to go over it again with PC 1090 and just really in between. So here you can see the smudge is just about invisible. I mean, it's still there, and it's here. Unfortunately, it's still here. I actually didn't take an eraser and try and erase the red before I started. Oh well. PC 912. I'm going to add a little bit more of the yellow, just very lightly. I quite like the warmth the yellow is giving to these lighter areas. Let's go with the PC 907. So if I bring it up closer for you, you can see how saturated the paper is, even though it's not completely burnished. So all these white dots you see in here, that's the tooth of the paper. But you can see there's quite a lot of pigment still on the page. And when we burnish it, we damage the tooth of the paper and really push the pigment into the paper. Now, if you were to use a solvent, it would blend all the colors together for you, keeping your paper quite dry, because you don't use a lot of solvents. It actually has to be quite a dry brush. Otherwise you can stain your page, and it leaves the tooth of the paper, so you could add layer upon layer upon layer upon layer. Now I'm starting to see why your professional artists actually use solvents when they color. It's to save their pencils and to keep the tooth of the paper while they are still working. So if you're interested in seeing a bit more on solvents, I can show you what I've discovered. I'm happy to do a quick video. I can also show you the difference between a burnishing, blending, using a white pencil, using a blending pencil, and I can also show you how it affects different pencils. So I can show you the difference. I can show you what burnishing, blending, and solvents do to castle art pencils, Arteezas, Prisma, and polychromos. So let me know in the comments if that is something you would be interested in. And if you are interested in any specific thing, or you have a question, please let me know in the comments. And if I don't know the answer, I'm happy to do the research until I found the answer. If I do have an understanding of or know how to answer your questions, then I'm very happy to do a video for you and help you out. PC 912. So now I'm going to go in a different direction and try work some more of this pigment into the paper. And the thing with colored pencils really is just patience. It isn't a quick medium. I found a winter page in A Forest Girls coloring book, and I thought that could be a fun picture to color over the next few winter months. And I thought we could use Neocolor 2s, and I can show you how to do a picture just completely in Neocolors without adding too much pencil in. Back in with 901 indigo blue. And really what you want to do is work with your page, whether you're working on pom-poms, the mitten, the animal, the bell. Just work with each section until you're happy with it. And you know, if you're not sure if there's enough color, then just add some more. The only time you've added too much color is when the paper is so saturated and the tooth is damaged, and your pencil will not leave more pigment on the paper. That's the only time when you've put too much pigment down. Other than that, just work with it and until you're happy, until it looks the way you want it to look. It doesn't matter what other people think. It's not their picture, it's your picture. And by moving or rotating your pencil as you work, you also can keep that point nice and sharp. Bearing in mind that Prismas do, because they're a soft lead, they lose their tips quite quickly. So frequently rotating your pencil will just help prolong it as well. And you can do that for all of your pencils. So after Christmas, I will be doing a few videos with polychromos because I am going to be learning how to use them. I went and got myself a second-hand set of polychromos as an early Christmas present, and when they arrived, my eldest son said to me, "Mommy, you're not allowed to use them until Christmas." So I said to him, "Please just let me swatch them." So he bought my plea and said, "Okay." And then I swatched the polychromos and he took them away from me and he's hidden them until Christmas. So get ready. 2022 is going to have polychromos pictures and Prisma pictures because it will be my new challenge. Okay, and back to the apple green PC 912. We are very close to the point where I will get my white pencil out and I'll blend this all in. So this is the point where if you have a blending pencil, you could start blending it out and then just go over it with some of your greens if you're not happy with the way it's burnished. You can use a white pencil, you could use a solvent here as well, and then do a few more layers. You could even just use this pencil, PC912, and just blend it all out. Some people blend as they go along. I've been doing a little bit of that already. I think this looks really nice. It's got a little bit more, if you compare the snowflake to the, top of the mitten, you can see there's a bit more yellow and you can actually see the effect. So if you wanted to, you could always just take a yellow pencil and just in your highlighted areas, just go over it a bit, and you can pull in some of that yellow. It doesn't have to take really long. And if you have, if there's a little bit of tooth left on the snowflake, it will pick up some of the yellow. So you can do that, or you can just leave it. it will at the end of the day all balance out, because in the background what I want to do is go in and create a bokeh effect using yellows and greens. Well, that's the plan at least. Okay, I'm going to get my white pencil. Okay, now I'm going to start burnishing. And this is where I use a medium to hard pressure. You can see it's already making it quite milky. So what we'll do is we'll go over it again with the apple green. Actually, we'll go in probably with quite a few of the greens. Just okay. So going over it with PC912, and we'll just add in some of that color, because what the white does is it makes it quite milky, and unless that's the effect you're going for, we want to add back some of that vibrancy. So PC1090, back in with PC912, okay, PC907, Okay, PC 1090. And then PC 912. PC 907. PC 1090. And finally PC 912. And there we have it. The top of the mitten is done. Okay, so let me show you how we'll do this section here, and it's the same principle for the rest of the mitten. Again, I'm going to do a base layer in PC 926. Alright, next up we're going to do Tuscan Red PC937 and just develop the shadows. Alright, and now PC924. And I'm using a medium pressure and a bit of a feathering approach. Alright. Now I'm going to do some PC901. You might be wondering why blue. It's just to deepen the shadows. Okay, PC 926. And what I'm going to do is go over most of it with a medium pressure. And then I'm using the white, and I'm just going to go over the highlights so I don't lose them. PC 924. And then PC 926. And it's again, I'm just using a feathering. PC 937. Okay, and that is how I turn a bit of a mess into something not too bad. So we've done the top of the mitten, the rope, which will be attached to the tree, and the same concept I've done here is what I'm going to be doing on the rest of the mitten. But I will do a bit of the mitten with you on another video, and at the same time we can fix his arms, and I'll show you a bit more of his colors and what I did. So that is it for me. I hope that you've enjoyed this, and I hope that you're enjoying your picture, and I will see you in the next video. Until next time, bye for now.